All right, so for today's bell ringer, we have what is the value of the x and y intercepts when the equation is 2x minus y equals 7? So first of all, we need to plug in a 0 for an x, or we can plug in a 0 for y. So when we plug in a 0 for x, we're actually looking for the y-intercept. So if we plug in a 0 for x, we get 2 times 0 is obviously 0, so we get negative y equals 7. Now to make this a positive y, you can multiply this by negative 1 on both sides, so we get y to equal negative 7. So we can automatically cross off a and b. Now we found our y-intercept, now we need to find the x-intercept. So when we plug in the x-intercept, we have to plug in a 0 for y. So now we have 2x equals 7. Lastly, to get x by itself, we divide by 2. So we get 7 halves, or 3.5 as our answer. So it looks like D is the correct answer. Now it says, what is the domain and range for the following linear equation y equals 2x minus 7? So domain and range is like your x and your y values. So domain relates to your x and range relates to your y. So if we plug in a 1 for our domain, we get 2 times 1 minus 7. So y equals 2 minus 7 equals negative 5. Now we need to plug to make sure that a 0 could work. So if we plug in a 0 for our domain, we get y to equal negative 7. Now lastly, in order for them to be all real numbers, we need to be able to plug in a fraction. So if we plug in y equals 2 times 1/2 minus 7, 2 times 1/2 is 1, 1 minus 7 is negative 6. So there we have that all of these will end up giving you an answer. So therefore, that means that all real numbers, when we plug in for our domain, will give us all real numbers for our range. So we have B as our answer. Now, lastly, it says find the domain of the function f of x equals x squared. So just like up here in this equation, we need all real numbers. So we need to be able to plug in a 0 value, which ends up 0 squared gives us 0. A positive value, so we can do 2 squared, that's 4. And then a negative value, negative 1 squared is positive 1. So if we look here, just like up above for our domain and range, we're end up actually using all real numbers again because it's still going to give us an answer. And when you plug in any negative into an x squared, it will automatically give you a positive answer. So all real numbers is the correct answer for that one.